Hi everyone.
Hi guys.
Lovely to see you again. We're back for more action. And this is a house we have not talking. Did I say talking? Sorry, I didn't mean to say talking. This is a house we haven't spoked about for a while. But a house I think that is dear to our hearts, isn't it? And
yes,
the house, is that a really wanky word to use?
It's quite
a perfume brand, a thing, a collection. Manuel.
Yes.
Cross.
I mean, it is.
And the wonderful Rogue.
We have spoken about it. I mean, I'm trying to. The first one we spoke about was
probably Chypre Siam, which we did at the hall, and we were in that
original bottle, that kind of like oblong bottle with the metal cap.
Yeah,
which they don't do anymore.
But I mean, I've enjoyed those over the years, and I think he's great, wonderful.
And for me, Mousse Illuminee is one which has been a staple.
It's fantastic.
This is a new, the newest one came out, I think, this year. Bonded. A Bonded is a fragrance inspired by the imagery of oak moss steeped in a vial of whiskey. It is currently sold out.
You're kidding?
On the Rogue website.
That's annoying. Is this available in the UK yet?
Well, I bought this in the UK. Yes, it's nice. I mean, as a fragrance collector, it's nice that they do 30ml bottles. 30ml bottles.
Yeah, absolutely.
£65 $85.
I mean, how reasonable is that for a house like this?
It is. It's an EDT though.
But an EDT in his language is a little bit more.
Yes.
Is it? I mean, we'll get to it, I guess. But is it performing well and behaving?
You will see.
Okay.
I'll leave it to you. 75ml is $156 or £120. So I bought this bottle a little while ago. I've worn it a few times. So I have lived with it. You're going to see Joe's.
I'm so excited. I've not smelled anything new from this house for a long time. And I mean, Bon Monsieur is the most recent purchase I had. And I love it with all my heart. By the way, when the new Bond film comes out, I will be wearing this to the first performance. First showing.
The matinee.
Just what you wanted. Just what I wanted. Yeah. That's what I was hoping for. That is what I was hoping for. Interesting papyrusy thing going on there. Some like paper, like coffee soaked old paper in an old bookshop.
See, that's it. What I was surprised by is, I mean, there's real Mousse Illuminee DNA there. But two things I got, which I thought was prominent. There was a surprisingly strong plumminess.
Yeah, absolutely plummy.
But there's also a big like
plummy AF.
Like,
sorry,
a big like new magazine, fresh glossy magazine.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. And stickers. Did you ever buy stickers when you were a child? And that thing like the glue on stickers.
Yeah. Things. That's quite prominent.
Is there a bit of like a Dr. Pepper cherry vibe or something?
There's definite
like a fizzy Dr. Peppery.
I think there's a definite fruitiness and a definite plumminess, which I didn't quite expect. And it's not even a cherry. It's not even a really cherry tobacco-iness. It's just fruitiness, painty, glossy magazine quality. Just in the opening
burst.
There's
like a mastic thing going on.
Do you think? Oh, I didn't get mastic.
Or some gummy resin of some sort.
Gummy more than resin, I would have said. And
slightly dry, like bitter green thing going on.
Bitter green for sure. I mean, I definitely.
The Garabadumi thing. Is there anything like there's a sort of bitter green edge to it, isn't there? That you'd.
There are interesting.
Like Cabochard or something like that.
There are lots of notes which I experienced, which were not listed, and some which were listed, which I didn't experience. Certainly, this fruity, plummy, painty quality at the beginning.
I love.
I think the tobacco is clear. That Mousse Illuminee DNA
that's in there, isn't it?
That mossiness is clear,
and it's fresh. I like as it develops, even in a few seconds on here. I'm getting a little bit of a fresh zingy something to it.
Well, a lot of the time when I smelt this, when I wear it, I thought, okay, this is an EDT, but actually, if it was stronger than an EDT, it might be because if it was closed down and stronger,
you don't really want that.
It might be a bit overwhelming or unpleasant. Whereas on one hand, it's quite big and there's really bold, strong notes, but it never quite overpowers. And on skin, it never. I wore it a couple of times on quite a hot day, and sometimes in quite a small space. And I was worried it was going to overwhelm, and it doesn't really actually.
So you could wear this on a space shuttle mission to the sun.
I have,
and it would be okay. He has. Yeah. This is why he's still here to tell the tale.
Oh,
I really like that. I really like that.
I mean, the tobacco. I mean, we're talking about other things, but I do get that impression of tobacco really front.
And it's different from the tobacco fragrance that he did. I presume still makes.
Yes, it is.
Which was quite powdery and almost, that was almost in the realms of being slightly dandified. Whereas this is quite earthy and rooty and like grassy.
What he does really, what I really enjoyed about this, there's a real nod to the past, as you always get. It feels a little bit modern.
So he's probably thinking now, I can do that, but I've got to have an eye and an ear out for.
I mean, there's
taste as well,
and especially as it develops, I found there's a kind of bitter wood,
beautiful,
a quite strong bitterness, which comes forward without it ever becoming too like screechy dry wood like Nor Limbano. I didn't think it was that.
It's gentle though, isn't it?
It's gentle.
It's a very gentle woodiness.
I don't think it's gentle. I think it's round. I think that's what it is. I think it's really well put together. I don't think it's actually gentle.
It's not reticent.
I think it's quite strong, rather than gentle.
Oh no, this is definitely a bit of a beast fragrance. I can tell already on here. This is something that is going to have a presence, and it's not some subtle.
But I think when you
nape of the neck,
not words in your mouth. Sorry, but when you say gentle, I think you mean kind of round.
Absolutely, no, I do.
Rather than
it's not something that's shrinking away. It's round and elegant. But I mean gentle in the sense of not being loud.
I sent Joe a few messages when I was testing this and wearing it. And I just loved. I just really loved experiencing and diving in, and I kept sniffing my wrist all the way through the day.
Very beautiful.
So it's
quite sexy as well.
It is. I thought it's
quite a sexy fragrance.
It's
If I were good looking, I would wear this fragrance every day.
You want to
sit on a park bench. I would. Yeah. Thank you, mate.
He interestingly lists oud, which is a very fashionable thing to do. I certainly never got any impression of oud at any point during this. I got after about 20 minutes, there's this lovely round sweetness that you're getting quite a lot of. That kind of receded, and I felt it went in a slightly more bitter direction. And I got bitter woods. I also got, and you're starting to get a bit of a feeling now, a bit of a barbershoppy feel.
Yeah.
If you go smell something else.
Get a bit of my old skin,
and then come back to it.
My skin smells of chamomile because I had a lovely shower gel this morning.
But I feel there's a little bit of barbershoppy, and if I can just go back to the greenness, it smells, I think, a bit of amyl salicylate, which is
what's that?
So it's a green material, but it's a green material that you get a lot in 80s, 90s fougères. And if you smell it, you would probably think it smells barbershop. And it's weird. It smells a bit green. It smells a bit barbershop with a hint of sun cream, a very subtle hint of sun cream. Anyway, so I can
sort of see what you mean. The kind of barbershop vibe I would get here is if I had just, I just had my hair washed and had a wet shave, and then I was having my ears flamed in the Turkish barbers, and that little bit of singy, smoky thing that you get sometimes in the air, coupled with the cleanness of whatever they're using in terms of shaving gels and things.
I already feel, even on card, and this becomes more so in another 10 minutes or so, that sweetness is definitely receding. It becomes much more bitty, much more woody. As I said, I did not get any suggestion of oud, and what I certainly do not get at any point is any funkiness of oud. If there is any,
it would be a clean medicinal sort of oud, wouldn't it?
is,
Rather than the.
And also, it's a clean medicinal. But the thing I got a bit later, and especially towards the dry down, was a slightly burnt wood quality, which you do sometimes get.
Well, I feel a charring here. Even that's what the reference I get to the kind of the flame in the ear and nostril hairs. I get a slight light charry effect.
Yes, I get a very subtle, and this is more so as it goes further, a very subtle birch. And maybe like a hint of like cypriol as well, which is like that slightly leathery, booty, slightly oily. I
have to say, I mean, I've not worn this on skin, but a big feature to me that I'm not getting, which I wouldn't necessarily. I don't mind because I really like it, but I don't find this particularly boozy.
No,
I don't think of this as a boozy thing that's been steeped in. At the beginning, maybe a hint of it.
There was that plummy fruitiness and that sort of, glossy quality. But it's not got that. Yeah, it never really.
I don't think of this as a very boozy.
There was a lot of boozy tobacco fragrances. I mean, what's nice about this is, you could probably list, dozens and dozens of tobacco fragrances. This doesn't really smell exactly like any.
No, it holds its own.
Anything at all.
I mean, it's bloody good. Every time I go back to it, I like it, and I think I want more of this. I want to keep smelling and finding stuff,
and that's what
which is such a benchmark for me of not a benchmark. Sort of, this is a like if a red flag was a good thing. This would be it's a green flag. This is a green flag.
The mossiness.
So I keep wanting to go back.
When I wore it, even at 7 hours, there was mossiness. A lot of the tobacco had gone. There was a hint of slightly burnt wood, and I liked the fact that I had the feeling of segue from kind of wet, fresh tobacco, all the way to like almost coals on a fire rather than a cigarette.
But if anything, to me, smells of cigarettes. I hate it. Occasional things can pass by and I don't mind, but generally something that just smells like bog standard cigarette smoke, I'm not a fan of. Tobacco with all its complexity, pipe tobacco, the earthiness of a tobacco, I love. And this does it.
I could still smell it at 12 hours. It was just at 12 hours, it was just a gentle amber with a hint of mossiness.
Yeah.
It was also between about 7 and 12 hours, there was a hint of slightly sweet musk, like a slightly nitro musk, so either muscatone or maybe even Velvione, more modern, or a different type of nitro musk.
That tobacco is good though. I mean, even if something smells this sexy on a piece of card, to me, I know on skin,
it's really nice
with your skin warming it up. I think that's really beautiful. I'm going to get a bottle of that 100%.
I knew you'd love it. It's just
I'm going to order a bottle of that when we go over to the pub in a minute and have a pint, because that is really beautiful.
It just does exactly what you'd hope that what you would expect.
Yeah.
It's strange it lists oud because I don't think oud has anything to do with it. Or
no, but we have to remember this guy is a great perfumer. And if he's judged, some tiny element of oud will mix with something else to give an impression of something. I bet he's judged it really well.
Maybe it gives that slight kind of like smouldering ashes. You get at the back of it. But
like in a piece of music, let's imagine you double the clarinet line there with the bassoon.
Without giving
you don't necessarily think I can hear the bassoon, but actually there's this beautiful, rich something going through the middle, and you couldn't identify either instrument, but you just know there's this beautiful warmth in the middle. I think he's done something really clever there.
It's really, I love it. If we think
we need to do some more of
£65, $85 for 30 ml. It's not a cheap fragrance, but but it is a niche fragrance. So you have no economies of scale,
and it's not cheap in any sense. It's not
cheap.
Cheaply done. It's not badly done.
It does. If you think of a great classic cheapy tobacco, I'm maybe thinking Quorum or tobacco.
Lagerfeld.
It doesn't smell. It doesn't smell like one of those. It definitely smells smoother.
I do love
richer.
Tobacco and Quorum though. I do love them. I mean, they're so good, and I still had money for chips.
And well, exactly, yeah. And they are less than this, and you get 100 ml.
Yeah.
But I would rather buy this.
I would buy this 100 times over.
Mm.
And also, Manuel Cross is someone who is doing something that I think is weirdly unacknowledged in the wider world of perfume, which is appealing to that sense of nostalgia. Because how many of us love the smells we grew up with, and I'm going to say this without any hesitation: the smell of my dad.
Yeah,
his shaving foams and things. So you go in and hug an uncle, and
it's real
pipe tobacco smell.
Isn't it?
Totally.
It really is. It's lovely.
And I think a company that acknowledges that as part of its raison d'etre, I think, is amazing. Yeah. I think that's to be. I'm not crying. I have got an itchy eye, but I think that's to be encouraged. Really, a perfumer after our own hearts, I would say.
I loved. I loved my first wearing of it, but also almost what I loved more was that I knew how much you were going to.
I think it's beautiful, mate. I think that's the kind of perfume I want to be made in the 21st century.
Lovely. If you've tried that, no, not if you've tried us.
If you've tried us, let us know, because I need to speak to a therapist.
If you have tried it, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, tell us what you think, and if there are any others, because there are lots that we haven't talked about, like Dervish.
A few we've missed, aren't there? Yeah.
You know, the beautiful forest thing that he made.
Oh, the Tagette forest. Is it
Tagore forest?
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah. I really want to try it.
There's a sort of a tuberose and moss. I think we should explore this house much more.
But until next time, happy sniffing.